1. Hey there, what's going on, everybody? It is episode 98 of the KBMOD podcast. Welcome again. And I know we haven't said it in a while, but I actually can't believe it. I can't believe that it's episode 98.
I can't believe that we're really that close to episode 100. It's not really real to me that that's 2 episodes
I'm
away.
so close right now. I'm
so
edging.
close.
We're edging onto episode 100. Like, we're almost there, and we're like not gonna let it. We're not gonna climax until we're at 100.
It's coming, man.
Episode 100 is also on like July 4th weekend. I didn't even realize that.
It's on, yeah, it's on
No,
the
I'm
7th.
gonna watch it. Nah, just kidding.
Good timing.
Actually, for me personally, I'm gonna bring fireworks into my apartment and light them off the entire.
He's gonna have
sparklers.
Sparklers on stream.
He's gonna, he's
more
gonna
than sparklers.
He's gonna light a sparkles, a Captain Sparkles. See what I did there?
I'm gonna light him on fire.
He's gonna
do it.
He'll light one of the little snake things, like just the little black snake
The
things,
ones that
and
look
hold
like
it in his
turds?
hand. Yeah.
I never understood those. Like, it's like not aesthetically pleasing at all. It's like, oh, it fizzes and looks like a turd. Cool.
It looks like it's shitting upside down.
That's like
basically.
the coolest thing when you're in elementary school. That is very cool.
We're gonna make these, and we're gonna rebrand them as the official Tub Girl firework. There we
Just
go.
a fountain. You'll need to go more liquid based for that. I think you should take 2 sparklers and put Cool Whip on your nipples, and then stick the sparklers in the Cool Whip so it sticks.
Jesus.
I feel like we'll probably get sued for that Tub Girl trademark. I'm sure someone has,
Somebody
the rights
has
to
the
that.
legal rights.
Somebody has a shitty piss ass trademark. So.
Yep, that's also true. So, anyway, guys, it is indeed episode 98. I know we can't believe it. We have a great podcast for you today. I am joined by Brandon, aka Volition, Nick Fenton, John, aka John's Fat Cock, and myself, Blackliteattack. Dan is currently MIA once again. We think I know I was wrong last time about him being dead, but I think this time he's actually dead.
It's possible.
Yeah, I think his wife actually tweeted a picture of his corpse this morning.
I saw that.
Yeah, he's gone. So we're gonna once again dedicate this podcast to the memory of Dan Johnson, who will be very dearly missed. He was a great man, and we will remember him always.
And for all we know, R.I.P. Scott too. Scott's in Las Vegas at EDC.
Scott is, if he's not actually dead, he's at least dead to us in spirit.
He's at least like brain dead at the moment. I mean, he might come back, but
He's probably perspirating because he's having an interaction with a young female named Molly.
He probably has a really bad headache from listening to all the extreme death metal at the show.
Yeah.
all that EDM.
That's EDM. EDM is extreme death metal.
NEDM.
So, Cannibal Corpse, anyone? Slayer? Metallica? Anyone?
I dig
Metallica is not death metal, first of all.
Metallica's just heavy as shit. Come on.
Come on, man. Too hardcore for me.
So heavy.
Anyway,
Too hardcore.
What games have people been playing?
yeah, I was about to say, what games are we playing this week? So, yeah, why don't we start off? Okay, go ahead, John.
Me and
Counter-Strike?
Brandon have played Counter-Strike.
Yeah, we played quite a bit of
Okay, I'm
CS:GO.
done now.
Oh, you're playing Go?
That's pretty much all
Yeah,
I've played.
comp matchmaking is really good now. It's you have to deal occasionally with
That's one of
like
those
dumb
games that I
people.
wanna get back to.
But I don't know. I mean, I haven't played Go enough, like, over the course of its life and between all the patches to really have a sense of how it's changed. But I hadn't played it for a few months at all, and I come back and I know there's been a few patches since then, and they have comp matchmaking where you get put into a 5v5 competitive game, and there's like a penalty for leaving. It's kind of like, basically what all the MOBAs have popularized. And it puts a little bit
It's
of
more
gravity.
severe, actually, though.
Yeah, it puts gravity on the game itself in terms of you getting ranked with other players of your skill level, but also like if you leave or whatever, or if you're voted out, I don't know, you get a penalty for that stuff. So overall, the games that we've had have been really good. I mean, the only times they haven't been good is just when we've gotten beaten down because the skill ranking is not always accurate. I actually don't even have a skill ranking yet because you have to play 10 rounds, and the rounds are.
I don't know if you have to win 10 or if you have to play 10.
I think you just have to play 10, but even playing 10, it's 30 round games. It's first to 16 round wins, and so those games can take 60 to 90 minutes easy. So I haven't even played 10 rounds yet. We've probably played 6 or 8, but it's been really good. I'm enjoying it, and it's more fun the more people you have, because then people don't deviate from the strats.
Yeah. What kind of punishments do you get for leaving early? Is it like you
It's
can't
like
queue up
30
again?
minute. It's like, yeah, you can't queue up again. It's like 30-minute, 60-minute, 24-hour, 1 week,
Nice.
and then 1 month.
Yeah, I
or
think it
something.
gets more and more severe, and I wouldn't be
every, like, 1
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they refine that to where I don't know if other games do this currently, but like if it just starts putting you into queues with other people who leave or who like have behavioral problems. So it's kind of like you just get put in the dregs
Behavioral problems.
queues.
It's like
Just put you in detention,
Yeah,
put in
yeah.
school suspension, maybe.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I can't
That's
wait.
what playing with other leavers is. That's considered in-school suspension.
Yes.
I can't wait until in-game matchmaking starts introducing some sort of Pavlovian like behavior correction. Just like electroshock therapy. Just like, okay, you are cursing way too much and your voice is way too high pitched. We're just gonna shock you until your voice drops.
If I knew I was having in-school suspension, I would like eat Taco Bell or something the day before, just so I knew that I could like just destroy that entire room and frustrate the shit out of the teacher that was stuck in there with me, which happened regularly.
The fact that
I
you
mean,
planned for
obviously you
in-school
want
suspension
out-of-school
means
suspension.
you probably had in-school suspension too much.
I had it frequently because the way our school worked was you could if you got detention, and we'd get detention for the dumbest shit. If you didn't go, they just gave you a day of in-school suspension instead. And I would rather spend a day in in-school suspension than stay after school for like 4 hours. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. So I had in-school suspension probably.
I actually got a few.
five or six times a year.
I got a few just for being late so much because of my whole sleeping disorder until I finally got it diagnosed, and then I got to be as late as I wanted to school with absolutely no repercussions. It was pretty
I
sweet.
had detention twice in all of school. So
You sound like a badass.
Why did you
Yep.
get detention?
I got mine for late as well.
Once was because I forgot my trombone in the band room.
Oh shit!
After you do it like 3 times, it was detention, and I forgot it there overnight, and I got detention for that. And
Alright,
then
I'm
the
not
second one
disappointed
was
with the first story.
the
Second
second
story.
one was in high school because I had my cell phone out, and that was it. So
Wow, dude, that's pretty bad. I'm
I
disappointed.
was late. I was late because they didn't allow juniors to drive to school, so I just waited until I was late and parked in the parking lot anyways. But I got detention for it. It was like every 10 lates you got detention or something.
Yeah, for us it was
dumb.
like every 3. They were pretty harsh about it, and our school was run like a police, like a fucking not a police state, but like a prison. Like you couldn't leave. You had to be in at a certain time. You could only leave at a certain time. You couldn't leave through any of the side exits. All the side exits had cameras, security cameras that would flip on the second that door was open. If you were caught letting anybody into that school from like a side door, you were fucking expelled. Not even suspended. If you left through a side door, you were suspended for like 3 days. It was super hardcore. And then we had like after I graduated, all these kids like started killing themselves, and like we had one kid that got caught with like a bunch of guns in his room and like making threats against his classmates. Honestly, I don't know if I feel so bad about that anymore, because apparently kids are trying to kill each other. So I don't know. It's fucked up.
Yeah,
But-
you got to keep parents happy.
okay.
Yeah, we live in a really nice neighborhood too. It's like a super like white collar like just a high income area, and all these kids are just.
Oh,
fucking
so you're
nuts.
rich? That's what you're saying? You got, you got
parents are-
dollars?
My parents are rich.
That's
I'm
cool.
not. I'm poor as fuck.
Thank-
That's why I live with.
Tell them to give you monies.
Hey, mom, dad, I need to get out of here. These kids in the high school are trying to kill me. So give me some money. Let me move out. Nick, I don't know why I didn't have you pegged as a trombone player. I should have known.
I wanted to play.
I played alto saxophone.
I wanted to play trumpet, but my lips were too big, so I had to play trombone.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Apparently I could not get the little buzz thing for the mouthpiece for the trumpet. So.
How is that?
They tell you your lips are
And
too
by
big
the
for
way,
the flute.
trombone is a shit-ass instrument to play. It's not fun at all. It's not, because it's like, with the trumpet you have little things, so you can hit, the key is the key. And with trombone, you have to like guess where every note is.
You have to guess. That's how you play trombone. It's pure conjecture. It's just throwing darts against the board and just throwing darts against the wall blindfolded and seeing what sticks.
I've actually always wondered that. It's like it seems like it's just you just have to memorize kind of approximate positions.
You have to know where the placement is for each note.
Yeah,
it's really not fun at all.
It's all elbow related. It's muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Trumpet was dumb because there was like three buttons on it, but there's like 78,000 different tightnesses for your lips to make a different pitch.
Yeah,
I could play Carol of the Bells on the trumpet.
Was
and
saxophone?
Hot Cross Buns.
Was saxophone
cross
like
buns.
difficult, or was it?
No.
Did everyone have to play recorder in like elementary school?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I played saxophone
That's
starting in fourth grade until ninth grade, and I discovered alcohol in ninth grade.
And then you started playing the
sports.
skin flute.
Yes, and then I started playing the skin flute and the bong, the bong pipe. That was a good one. It was a great instrument.
The
Love
water
those wind instruments.
Yeah.
So I've been playing The Last of Us this week.
How is that? I've heard
really good.
Universal
Really good.
acclaim and how it needs to come to PC.
Game?
It's one of the better games to come out this year.
It's going to be remembered, and I wouldn't be surprised if this launches a franchise, especially because it's Naughty Dog, and I don't think Naughty Dog's ever made a game that didn't have sequels. But
they
and I don't know how the story ends, but
yeah, I haven't finished. I think I'm about like 8-ish hours into the game. So I'm like, I think it's like a 12-hour game, so I'm like 2/3 through. So
I expect at least one of the main characters to die.
God, stop!
I'm just saying.
I don't even want the speculation of spoilers in my life right now.
there is, I think, sequel potential anyway. Even if hypothetically both of the main characters
Sony has already made it so that there's Last of Us 2 and 3.
Yep.
So don't worry.
Yeah, not even surprised. So it's going to be remembered definitely.
And I'm going to close the KBMOD Twitch chat because I'm not even going to risk it now.
Yeah.
Is there any speculation that eventually comes to PC or no?
You're not going to get it.
It's never coming to PC. It's Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog is second party for Sony.
Yeah.
Did you get any of the Crash Bandicoot games on PC? Did you get any of the Jack games on PC? Did you get any Uncharted games on PC?
That's true. That's true.
You're not
Naughty Dog. That's another argument for sequels. Naughty Dog only deals in trilogies. So, although Crash had more than 3, I guess.
And I've also been playing Uncharted. On the topic of Naughty Dog on my PS Vita because I got it this week because I hate money. I made the really poor choice of choosing between getting a 770 and a PlayStation Vita, and I went with a PlayStation Vita. So how about
mistakes were made?
Keyboard, mouse,
congratulations on the worst investment you've ever made. I won a PS Vita from fucking Taco Bell.
I know you did.
So
do you even know where that Vita is? I was gonna say this is the first time I found out that you own a Vita.
Yeah, it's in the storage in the hallway with my N64 and Super Nintendo.
It's actually pretty cool, so maybe you should try it. It'll make your printing experiences so much better. You don't understand.
Not really interested at all.
So does that mean you're getting a PS4, Nick, for all the sweet Vita integration?
What's that? Yeah, I'm gonna get a PS4 because it's supposed to have. It's supposed to be more interactive with the PS4 than it was. Well, the PSP was with the PS3, which was basically non-existent. They said they were going to, and then nothing ever happened. Basically,
they would be dumb not to harp that really hard because that's something Microsoft cannot emulate.
Yeah,
no matter what. Yeah,
I'm not elitist. I can't play anything on a small screen. It hurts my eyes. That's why I have a Nintendo DS that sits here too. I've used, but not very much. Painful.
I mean, I really want a Vita, actually, just because of games like Gravity Rush, but I can't justify a $250 handheld.
I have it with my bundle. My bundle came with Gravity Rush, Uncharted, Wipeout, and then Unit 13 or something like that, and of
one year, actually.
And then 1 year of PlayStation Plus as well.
That's pretty solid, actually.
For like $300, it was a $300 bundle. The only problem is it comes with a 4 gig memory card, which is basically not enough to put anything on.
Do they still
4 gig memory card?
Yeah, they use proprietary memory cards. So
thank you for
32 gig one is $100.
Thank you for reminding me why I don't own any portable handheld system since ever.
Well,
Memory
3DS,
cards.
I'm actually not at all disappointed with my 3DS. I actually really like it. And it uses SD cards because they're not Satan. But Animal Crossing New Leaf, what? So, John and Brandon, did you guys both go? I know you both said you were playing Counter-Strike. I don't know if that was all.
I mean, I just played some League of Legends ARAMs, played a little bit of Smite. That's about it. But CS:GO is really good. I wanna keep playing it. I want to get more people into it. We had a group of 4 last night. That was a lot of fun. So that's not gonna stop.
How's the skill level, just generally?
I mean, it's hard to say because I'm unranked until 10 games, so I don't know. Like, John is the only one of the people that I've played with who has a skill ranking, so I don't really know how the logic comes into play as far as matching us. So we'll see. Once I hit 10 games, I can comment more on like the skill level matching. But overall, it's been kind of up and down. I mean, some games we've done really well. Some games we've gotten destroyed. So, I mean, it's kind of like the nice thing is that people just seem to take it more seriously. Like, people don't always listen to the strats, but for the most part, if you say a strat or if the team is going somewhere, people aren't just going off on their own and like buying silly guns and doing silly stuff. So it's nice to just kind of put a little more sincerity around like people sitting down to play a game and intending to win and not really trolling as much.
That's what I do when I play Counter-Strike. In the rare occasion that I do play Counter-Strike, I usually goof off, and I would never lead us to a win because I'm garbage at that game anyway, and the only way I can have fun is by screwing around.
Well, and
not
that's what
necessarily
pubs
trying
are
to
for.
kill my team.
I mean, that's what pubs are for. Like, aside from just outright being annoying and killing your teammates and stuff, it's fine in pubs to use whatever weapon you want. I mean, that's the point of a public server, but that's why it's nice to it's nice to actually get a mode where you're saying, all right, don't queue up for this unless you're going to play for real, unless you're going to communicate with your teammates, and you're going to see the whole thing through, and you're not going to just leave halfway, midway through it. It's basically like the modern day pug, except that you just, instead of having to join IRC and be like, hey, looking for pug, now this does it for you. You just click the button, it throws you into the matchmaking queue. So it's like, I think this will get better and better. I think more games. Unfortunately, you need kind of a bigger player base to really do this effectively. But I think more games need to keep refining this idea. Like, first-person shooters need to have a way to do this kind of thing, to say this person who doesn't have a competitive team but wants to play in a kind of competitive setting, let them do that.
Super Josh actually points out in the chat as well that TF2 is getting comp matchmaking soon. Not like comp, but they're getting Highlander matchmaking.
It's Highlander, and it's whatever.
I
think that's a good start. I mean, like,
it definitely is.
It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt anything to put that mode there.
TF2 has a huge competitive, not a huge competitive community, but it has an
Highlander is huge.
Highlander is getting bigger and bigger,
huge.
And getting more people
like
into that.
4,000 teams in UGC.
And you might. Are you serious? It's that big?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that big. But basically, when you get more people into Highlander and starting to see what it can be like when you're taking the game seriously, you might have more people looking into it even more and seeing what Six is like. Because there might be some people who are really good at games in general and could easily learn TF2 and learn to play it competitively, who just don't know that there's a competitive scene. You might actually see a boost to the 6v6 community in there, and the 6v6 scene rather. And I'm all for. I mean, I'm looking for a way to get into Highlander. It's hard for me to use lobby because when I play, there's nobody on, except on servers where I have like 130 ping. But if there's a matchmaking, it might be okay. It might be a good segue, and it might get me to actually be awake and try to lobby at like 6 p.m. on weekends or something.
Yeah, and with that kind of stuff, I think it definitely makes it a lot more accessible when, for instance, Highlander, maybe when you're queuing up, like, you put your preferred roles or something so that you're not just randomly matching 9 people together, but
that's what it's going to do.
Right, and so like that's why it's that kind of thing, like putting an actual system in place to allow people to queue up like that makes a lot more people interested in it, because they're like, oh great, I don't have to bother trying to like join up an IRC or do all this stuff manually and try and bicker over who's going to get what role. That kind of
Right.
stuff is going to get a lot more people interested in it when they can just hit the button and wait for the system to find other people who want to play other roles and then just put you in a server.
And TF2 actually does have a system like that already in place by a third party, just tf2lobby.com, where you can say, hey, I'm looking for a pub and I can play Spy or Pyro or Scout, or you can just I'll only play Medic, I'll play anything, whatever, whatever parameters you want to put in, it'll match you into that. And I believe when
We use
TF2
IRC, really.
well, for sixes, yeah. But, I mean,
And for
lobby,
Highlander, there's tf2.pug.nahl, which allows you to queue up for like you would with sixes, but with Highlander. You should try
okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys want to get a competitive TF2 game going, you can message me on Xbox at Sinwin.
People still play the Xbox TF2, believe it or not. It's not a lot of people.
I actually
trust me,
don't
but
believe
it's
it.
like,
I do not believe
I
that.
own
no, people
TF2
actually do.
on Xbox.
I
so-
swear to God, every now and then on the TF2 subreddit, somebody will come in and be like, "Hey, is this game good on PC? I've been playing on Xbox a lot," and everybody's just like, "No, it's terrible on PC. Don't play it. Xbox is way better."
You have to throw them off the trail. You don't want that
Trying
person.
to rocket jump on console
Oh my
is
God,
fucking
dude!
hilarious. You have
You
to
ha-
play in the claw.
Yeah,
You have to
you
do
have
that
to
claw
you have to
grip
play
thing.
in the claw. You have to point down first and then jump and then basically rocket jump while facing the ground and just kind of like it's so funny. It's so bad. They still have that weird like pre-beta heavy muzzle flare effect on his minigun that looks really really janky. It's this weird like 3D model of a muzzle flare that comes out of his minigun. It's fucking bizarre. I was watching a video earlier. Anyway, so that's pretty much the way things are going with the whole. I like that. I like competitive, more competitive queuing. It's still basically going to be pubbing at its core. It's not going to be as high skill as like what John used to play,
But that's what people want, and that's what I
Exactly.
want. I don't want I don't have the time to
I want
dedicate
serious
to.
pubs.
Yeah, I want serious
Right.
pubs. That's basically right where I fit in. Is like I don't really have the time to dedicate to any one game or the interest for that matter. Like to
Exactly.
get really serious. And CS is a great example. I love to still play CS, but I'm not going to be as good as I used to be when I was playing every weekend all the time. That's all I played. So this is a great middle ground for like I'm not trying to join a league. I'm not trying to get competitive on a ladder or anything. I just want to play a more serious game than what I can find in almost all public servers.
And I think having a more serious objective is going to help my game as well because a lot of times when I'm just playing Pub TF2 and the game, the server just switches to like Hightower, which is a really goofy map on TF2 where nobody really tries. People call it it's a payload race server, but people call it TDM Hightower because nobody ever plays the objective. I'll just like go trollger and rocket jump around trying to kill people in midair with my shovel, and that's not helping my game as a spy main.
Yeah.
My rocket jumping's pretty good, but I go and play spy after screwing around on a server like that for 3 hours and I'm garbage. So I think if it was a more dedicated to people playing well, that's going to do nothing but help my game for somebody who has only played around in non-serious pubs. It's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing, especially if it's handled correctly. I've been playing Team Fortress 2, obviously. A little bit of Smite. I swore off Smite forever and then was playing it 2 days later. Which is just how things go with MOBAs. I actually reinstalled LoL. I haven't actually played a game. I just jumped into a game with bots to refamiliarize myself with the controls. But I plan on jumping into an ARAM or two and just something I can't take too seriously and just
Yeah,
seeing
we
how
should definitely play some ARAMs. That's all I play.
Yeah.
Like literally, whenever I open the LoL client, I only
I-
ever play ARAM. Other game
And
types do not
I can
exist to me
say-
anymore.
I feel like ARAM is going to be better in League of Legends due to the large pool of characters. They have like over 100 or whatever. Smite's ARAM is kind of a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, Smite's.
I hate
I
Smite's
like
ARAM.
I like Smite, but
I don't
they
like its
still they have some refinements to make for ARAM, and I think League getting an ARAM queue, the two things that they do differently that are pretty pivotal to making it a good experience are that they have health on the map. So even if you don't have any players who can heal, you're not completely out of luck. And
Right.
they allow you to re-roll at the character selection screen, which with Smite, you just get stuck with whatever you get. So if the other team has a healer and you don't, well, they're going to win. Like assume
Yeah,
all
pretty
else
much.
being equal, if skill levels are exactly the same and they have a healer and you don't, they're going to win. And there's a lot of little scenarios like that where like the team composition means that one team has a huge advantage over the other. League isn't nearly that dramatic, I don't think, because there are so many more champs and you can re-roll, and I don't know, they can fit, each character can fit more roles, whereas Smite, I feel like they're kind of slotted into to certain roles already.
Yeah, I mean they even have them listed on the character screen. This guy is a carry. This guy is a tank. This guy is a mage, etc. And then there's characters like Vulcan who just completely dominate ARAM because it's the only situation he's good in is holding down a lane, and that's all ARAM is one lane. So
yeah, we've had some games recently in Smite ARAMs that I've just been like, how do you not play test against this in the office and be like, wow, that's like really bad.
Like, were you there when we got 3 Vulcans in a row on the other team?
Yeah, we played against a Vulcan who built magic damage, and he was unstoppable.
His turret was stronger than you as Cupid. That's right, that was you. Yeah, it was fucking ridiculous. Like, if you went toe-to-toe with his turret, obviously you shouldn't go toe-to-toe with a turret, but just hypothetically, if you did, not even with an ulted turret, his turret would have killed you if you had stayed in. That's fucking ridiculous.
I think League is definitely, on the whole, I think a better ARAM experience, and more refined, which is not surprising given the League of Legends player base versus the Smite player base. So let me know when you play. We'll get together.
Okay. Definitely will do. And other than that, I have been playing Last of Us, like Nick said as well. Maybe, I don't know, I would guess about 3 hours into it. I was kind of taking my time. I made a goofy video off of it. People seem to enjoy. And I can't wait to play more of it. And Animal Crossing still on my 3DS is my game at work. Too good. Nice. Too strong. Real men play Animal Crossing, for those of you who don't know. If you don't, basically a female. So, sorry. Saws.
So did Nick already go? Last of Us and something
else. Last of Us and Uncharted on.
You don't get a second turn.
Uncharted, yeah, you don't. All right, we're done. So anyway, so we're 30 minutes in already. We're gonna run a quick 2-minute commercial break. We're gonna come back with the news. So stay tuned.
We'll get together. Brandon Last Words 2013. Bulldog 2013.
I feel like that's just going to haunt me over the course of the years. If I'm streaming or something, people are just going to come in and they're going to say things like that.
You're done.
And I'm going to be able to point back to this moment.
I'll change your display name on the site to MLK Bulldog whenever you're streaming.
Oh, that's great.
Just constantly, the entire time you're streaming.
King Bulldog?
Yeah. Major League Killers, bro.
That was our old clan.
Damn, that is a
subsidiary of
MLG.
Name.
What's a subsidiary of Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah, we got that was always the first question. Was like, what is it? Oh, is your clan the Martin Luther King clan?
Let me go to Google. I'm gonna query this database to see if the MLK site's up.
It's not. Went down a long time
ago.
Our
website's a Facebook now.
There's some decent news this week. Some of this stuff is
oh man, there's an MLK
substantial.
Clan MySpace page, Brandon.
Oh wow, that's got to be super old.
There's nothing on it though. Oh god.
Wait. How did I not see this? Bably, Hints Towards, Left 4 Dead 3, and Source 2.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that, Nick. Don't spoil it.
I won't. But I need to read this right now because I didn't read any of this. Because I'm a scumbag.
Well, you don't really have to read much about the first one. If you haven't heard about that, then you probably shouldn't be on the cast.
Shh. I'm reading.
Exciting filler for all the subscribers.
Shh.
I'm reading.
All right, we are back with the news. Going into our first topic, which is not directly PC related, but given that we've talked a bunch about E3 and the new consoles, this was probably the biggest story of the week, I think. Xbox, called the Xbox 180 by Ars Technica.
And everyone else in the entire world.
Yeah, and everyone else, because that wordplay is funny. The Xbox team pretty much went back on like everything regarding the DRM for the Xbox One. So they're not going to require internet connection to play offline. It sounds like disc-based games are going to work exactly how they do now on the Xbox 360,
Yep.
which I mean was like the whole, really, almost the whole story about the Xbox One. Like this has just been in the media so much since E3 that like what is there to even talk about now? This is all going to be the same.
I don't understand how they thought as a company. They have people doing like sales projections, they market surveys and stuff like that. They have research. I don't understand how this even got to the front stage. I don't understand how they thought anybody would think this is okay. I know people are like patting themselves on the back and be like, "Yeah, we did it as gamers. We told them no and they listened." But honestly, in what universe would this have ever flown? In what universe would this have actually worked?
The announcement was perfectly timed, though. I think they knew after the initial responses that this is what they were going to do, but they announced it directly after Sony bricks PlayStations with a shoddy update.
Yeah.
So like
I think the thing is
really intelligent.
The thing is that's gonna be completely overshadowed. Like no one's gonna care about that once the PS4 comes out. The thing for me here is I wonder how different the situation will be if Microsoft had their press conference after Sony's. This, like, literally the past week of events, the past 2 weeks of events, could have been entirely different if Sony had to have their press conference before Microsoft's at E3.
Yeah.
What if Sony did come in? They were before Xbox, and they were like, "Yeah, we've got used games, guys, haha." And then Microsoft came up and was like, "Hey, we changed our minds. We do again."
Yeah, they're
and
doing
then,
like some
Sony's
scrambling
whole
backstage. Yeah.
Sony's whole last 15 minutes of their conference would have just been.
I think it would. It's
Sony...
so interesting to think about that Sony really benefited hugely from being able to see Microsoft's stance on everything at their press conference before they had to go out and deliver their stuff.
Maybe Sony requested to go later. Microsoft was like, "Hey, we were thinking we should go first because we're better," and Sony was like, "Okay, man, that's fine. You can do it if you want to." They're like, "Yes, alpha as fuck." And they
I have to think like I have no idea what goes into that scheduling, but I have to imagine there is like monetary jockeying for those time slots.
I'm sure getting the last slot
Guarantee it.
was like that's what Sony was aiming for. Like they were like, "We have to get the last word in on all of this, otherwise, it's not going to have the effect." But
definitely.
So I mean I think it's I guess a good thing that Microsoft is perhaps listening on some level to this massive torrent of feedback that they've gotten since E3. But I'm also surprised that they're going back so far. I would have thought that they would say, "All right, listen, you're not gonna have to go online every 24 hours. Maybe it's like every 3 weeks, every month, something." I would have thought they would taper off, but not reverse entirely, because a lot of those features you have to think like the family sharing and all that stuff. That's already in development, if not almost done. In order to make that system launch. So all of those features, they are just throwing that development time completely away. And
maybe
that's
they keep
surprising
those
me.
features, but they're only accessible if you check in online. Like they can do both ways,
Well, yeah, but they've said that the stuff like the family sharing or whatever, the plan for we don't have used games, but you're going to be able to kind of take your game library around with you. All that stuff is now scrapped. So it's like they can't.
Not necessarily. Everything is still moving around, obviously, because they just completely. They announced that they're completely changing it.
No,
so
I know,
it's obviously not
I know,
final
but what I'm
product.
saying is they've already said. So first they went way overboard with the DRM. Now they've gone all the way back, and they've said it's going to work exactly how it does today with Xbox 360. If they would have tapered off now, they could have gone back further later, but they can't go forward again. You see what I mean? Like they can't make it worse than they've already said. Now we're going to take it back to how it is now.
And they've wasted all that development time and money, and that sucks and all. But at the same time, that's what happens when you develop a stupid fucking idea. That's what happens when you pour money into trying to fuck over your customers. It's a bad idea.
The thing is,
wasted money.
Well, it's like it wasn't a bad idea. It's just the messaging was so terrible and they didn't explain any benefits.
I
Yeah.
think it
Some
was
of
the
the
That
ideas,
the whole family plan was like completely like don't think it was mentioned in like well it wasn't
I don't even know
emphasized
what
as much as it should have been because
I don't
that's a
even know what
really
you're talking about.
cool idea.
What is this family
It's
plan thing?
it's like you can like one account can put like 10 other accounts on it or something. I'm not
Okay,
even clear on what it was either. And then apparently like
but a family could share an Xbox. Basically.
if the original account has a game on it or something, one other person that's on that little family plan or whatever can play that game.
it was
Like
basically
like a
gonna
downloadable title could be
it was gonna
shared.
be like, so that you don't have to buy two copies of the game if you have two Xboxes in your house, or those kinds of situations where you have two kids or whatever. You're not going to buy them two copies of the game so that they can play together,
Yeah.
or I don't know. I don't. That's the thing, is they never really explained that, and it seems like that maybe could have gone a long way to ameliorating people's concerns about all this stuff. But they didn't any of the benefits. I feel like some of those features would have been cool, but now they've gone all the way back. They've retreated to just their initial Xbox 360 stance. I don't feel like they can come back and say, "All right, well, actually, we're gonna institute some of this stuff again, but some of the DRM stuff's gonna come back too." They can't do that now. They are
No,
stuck now in this current in deciding to go back. They can't change course again. This is how it's gonna be.
but at the same time, that was kind of what it took for them to get the public back on their side because they were in such a fucking doghouse with the community, with not even just like the hardcore community. Everybody was pissed at them about that. They were getting so much shit. Go on the YouTube. I looked up the YouTube press conference recently, the Xbox One reveal. Fucking dislike bombed out the ass. Like people are pissed about it. Or were pissed about it. They had to dial it back really hard just to get people back on their side, and they're actually getting praised for it now. Personally, I don't think they should be.
I
praised
don't. Yeah,
about
they should not be praised
backpedaling,
for this.
but
They could.
but
This
people
could have
are
been their
praising it.
system when they revealed it. Like it
Yeah.
could have easily
It could have
been what they revealed.
That's kind of the problem now, is that it's really damned if you do, damned if you don't, because people are already
True.
really upset that they had the audacity to try and pull that in the first place, and just
Yeah.
going back on their word now, it's like, okay, well, you already tried to pull one over on us once.
Yeah.
Like,
What are you
why?
gonna do to us in the future?
Right? Why? Like, what's the catch here?
Yeah.
We're not just gonna return to your side.
I think by far the most interesting thing we're gonna see pan out is mostly dealing with EA because they got rid of their online passes and stuff, which was I'm pretty sure was because Xbox had these DRM restrictions and stuff like that. So, I mean, the used game kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
you have
we
to
might
wonder.
see the return of online passes, and if they do, they're going to get a lot of shit for it because they said they're
Yeah.
not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, you have to wonder who Microsoft, like where the impetus to actually make this change came from, because they stuck with it for a month. They stuck with this line, and it's like maybe they were almost getting people used to the idea. People weren't happy with it. But
Yeah.
now they've gone back on that, and you have to imagine the publishers are not pleased about this, because they were the ones that were actually going to benefit very clearly from the new system. So now they're probably mad too. It's like, who is Microsoft? Who is happy with Microsoft right now?
Not a whole lot of people. I mean, like I said, they are getting some praise for backpedaling, but most people who have half a brain are still pissed at them for trying to pull it
I-
off in the first place because of the blatant disrespect it showed to their
It's
consumer
being
base.
played off like it's like, oh, we're listing guys, but no, it's like we need more sales because we're gonna lose.
Right, because
So that's why we're doing it, which is completely fine because it's Microsoft. They're a business. They need profit. That's what they're looking for. It's like why is Sony making the price of the PS4 $400 when they're going to lose so much money? It's like this isn't they're giving back to the fans of Sony. They're trying to win the console war. It's just how that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, and now the price will mean that much more, because the kind of the feature list of the two consoles is now closer in parity. So I think price will matter even more than it did before.
The one that if they could do one more thing that would like even them out, I think, is if they took off the Kinect stuff and made a model for the Xbox One that was $400 with no Kinect.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, but
that would
That will
completely
pretty
put them
much
on a
that
level
will pretty
playing
much
field.
shatter their entire strategy as far as what they started
Yeah.
with.
I still don't
But I mean-
like the Kinect being on, and especially because you know what really sucks about Microsoft, and I'm not alleging anything, but I think that this may have affected their sales and their public image even more, is the fact that they have this console that always needed to be connected to the internet and has to have a camera to work, and then the whole NSA thing got blown up with the Snowden guy,
Yeah, I have a feeling
and
they
everybody
didn't.
was
They
like,
definitely didn't benefit from kind of public
I mean,
perception just around
I'm-
that sort of thing.
I'm
Everybody's
not
on the
conspiracy
topic
theorist.
of privacy right now, so
Yeah.
it's like,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know that-
Everybody's kind of like,
I don't know that after this stuff and however the NSA story shakes out over the next 4 months before these consoles are released, I don't know that anyone is really going to be keen to pay an extra $100 premium to have a camera that can't be turned off in their living room. I don't know that anyone's really
I'm
super
not
excited
terribly
about that.
concerned about the Kinect personally.
No. I'm not saying concerned about it. Like I think there are going to be people that don't necessarily care, but it's like they're gonna see the extra $100 price tag and be like, wait a minute, I don't care about the camera, and you want me to pay $100, and I also can't turn the camera off. Like I have to use it. I think
Yeah.
there are going to be people that don't care that are going to just.
The off part is also one of the things that Microsoft has not been very clear about, because we all think you can't turn it off, but like they've also hinted at things, and like there's been certain people that like work at Microsoft that have been like, you can turn it off, but no one's really clear on that right now. It's very weird.
I think
Just put tape over the fucking camera.
yeah, if you're really that concerned about it, you can always
And when
just
you
tape
turn off
over
your
it, but-
Xbox, I'm sure you can literally go and unplug the Kinect from your Xbox if you're that
Yeah.
paranoid. But from
Exactly.
what I'm aware of, the Kinect sits at a very low state where it's literally just waiting for you to say Xbox on.
Yeah,
That's all
but
it's
they're
doing.
they're going to have to clear up that stuff, because I think that's the kind of stuff that is going to scare away you putting an Xbox One at your grandparents' house. Like that's going to be stuff that people that don't really have a full grasp of technology and exactly how it works, they're going to be like, wait a minute, this doesn't ever turn off. I'm not okay with that. And Microsoft has done a really poor job of messaging anything around that so far.
when it comes to people who don't trust technology, and there are a lot of people like that, that is going to hurt them. And don't ever underestimate the casual market. The casual market is the reason the Wii One, rather, the first Wii, sold more fucking units than both the Xbox 360 and the PS3 worldwide. People don't realize that, but they won that last console generation.
Yep, no, that's
all
true.
due to the casual market and the Wii Fit, pretty much.
That's true.
The Wii Fit and like carnival games. It wasn't even Mario and Zelda and Metroid. It was the casual.
It was
games
Wii
that won.
Sports. That's all it was.
Well, Wii Fit really, but
Wii Sports, Wii Fit. So
Yeah.
anyway, Microsoft. I'm sure there will probably be another big story next week about some big policy change for these upcoming consoles. But at least it makes for nice conversation in the meantime.
Yep.
Next, we have up kind of very rumory kind of stuff here. There is apparently a leaked Valve project tracker. So there's a product called Jira, which is like a project management software, and apparently Valve's Jira was like public for a very short time or something. And there's a screenshot. Again, this is like super grain of salt stuff, but there's a screenshot of a project that for Left 4 Dead 3 and Half-Life 3 that has like a mailing group for both of those projects. I don't know that this is really news to anyone. Like, I'm 100% certain that at Valve there are people interested in a third Left 4 Dead game and Half-Life 3. So
I wonder, is that something they're looking into at Valve? I can't imagine that.
What I brought from this is, hey guys, they have at some point worked on Half-Life 3, and it was like, we know.
Yeah, like
we already knew that.
This is just confirmation, assuming the screenshot is real. Like, it's confirmation that this is a real thing that Valve will do eventually. And given that Valve is in the business of making money, I'm sure that they will do both of these things eventually, because there's there's a very devoted player base for that stuff. People want to see these games. But that doesn't mean that it's even remotely close.
Waiting this long has actually been like it's brilliant for them because there's people who've never played Half-Life,
Yeah,
who haven't
they don't
grown
need
up with
marketing.
Half-Life. They care now. They care now
Because
just because everybody's made a huge deal about it.
Half-Life 3 is now a common knowledge household meme. It's everybody knows about it. It's a household term now. I mean, not how in the traditional sense.
It's a huge
among
gamer
gamers.
meme. Any gamer
It's
knows
huge.
Half-Life
It's
3.
huge.
Somebody was asking me at E3, and they were like, "Do you think Valve is ever going to say anything at something like E3?" And I'm like, "No, they have word of mouth. That's all they need. They don't need billboards. They have mouths."
Yeah, they're not. When they do announce Half-Life 3, I guarantee it's not going to be in a convention.
No. It might be, but it's going to be
on the Steam box.
well, it's going to be wherever they announce it. It could be at E3 or something, but it's going to be like the announcement is going to say, and it's available today, and they're going to hit the switch, and they're going to so that every news article is going to be they announced Half-Life 3 and you can get it right now.
Right now, and that would be oh my god, dude! I would jizz my pants, and not only would that be incredibly smart for them, me as a consumer, just them draws gone. I'm gonna have to throw them out.
Where I'm totally I believe that there is a chance that Valve could just like put Half-Life 3 on Steam one day. Like that's how ridiculous it is. Like it's just there and that's it. Like they just drop it. They don't say anything. It's just like Half-Life 3. Buy it.
I would take odds that I think John's theory is right. Where they do something around the Steam box. Like I would not be surprised if they try and do not necessarily like an exclusive or anything like that, but just some sort of promotion where like Steam box comes with Half-Life 3 or something.
Yeah, and a ton of people are going to buy it anyway just because it's Valve behind
when
the
it
Steam.
comes to speculating around Half-Life 3 at this point, I'm not invested anymore because like so many things have led to nothing. Like it's just like just give the game to me, please. That like I'm so desperate. Like speculating on games is fun and stuff, but like at this point, I'm just like,
at this point,
please, just give me the video game, please.
At this point, everybody's main concern should be: is Half-Life 3 going to live up to the insane amount of hype they've managed to generate?
I don't think a whole lot of people are at that point yet. Nobody's thought about that yet.
But it's Valve.
Absolutely.
It's Valve. Gaben is all-knowing, all-seeing, and all gracious and good to us, and he is our savior, and they will deliver the best game you've ever played.
And actually, I think Left 4 Dead 3 is almost just as exciting because I'm almost more confident that Left 4 Dead 3 will be a real thing, like in the next year to year and a half.
Sure. I think we'd see a Left 4 Dead 3 before Half-Life 3.
Yeah, no, I think so too.
It'll come out. It's going to be good, but it's not as exciting as Half-Life 3. Sorry.
Well, it's more exciting in that it is a thing I am more confident I will see than I am about Half-Life 3.
As a tangible game that can actually be played, yes, it is more exciting because it'll actually be out sometime within the next 5 years.
Speaking of Steam, we also have another kind of rumory sort of thing, but this is interesting in that some code was found in the recent in a beta update of Steam that references game sharing. So there's a PC Gamer article on this, and it's just like some commands like Steam UI _join dialog _shared license _title, and things like that, basically referencing commands around sharing games. So I think maybe we shouldn't be so surprised about this, given that there's been a lot of talk with the new console generation around sharing games digitally and like how do you borrow things in the digital age. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Valve do something like this, just kind of because they love to experiment. I would love to see some sort of feature with game sharing, so that people can try games, especially since we
Give somebody 10 hours with a game or something.
Yeah, we don't see demos that often anymore. So I think this kind of feature would be great for people to really decide, do I like this game enough to be able to buy it and not be able to return it once I'm done. And I feel like that's something that we as PC gamers don't care about as much anymore because we're so used to Steam. But for console gamers, that kind of stuff's a big deal. And I think especially when they're but if they're making a play with the Steam box eventually, I think they have to figure out some kind of sharing thing for the Steam box, because you're trying to get the console users in at Steam box, not the people you already have.
Yeah, and to fillet Valve even more, they understand better than anybody the power of word of mouth and the power of community and people recommending to their friends. Because there's no more genuine a sales pitch as your friend telling you to buy a game rather than somebody who was hired by the company who made the game telling you to buy the game. There's so much more power in that. There's so much more advertising power in word of mouth if it's harnessed correctly, which is what Valve is so goddamn good at doing. And if you see right here, it's got this. I really like that they are sort of detailing how it'll work exactly. In that there's some sort of like text to dialogue code that says, "Just so you know, your games are currently in use by borrower. Players playing now will send borrower a notice that it's time to quit." So obviously you can share with your game, you can share your games with your friends, but it's still yours. So when you want to play, you're like, "Hey, get the fuck off my game. Give me my game back."
Yeah, it looks. I mean, this is rampant speculation, but just kind of looking at the messages here that are in this beta update, it almost looks like there would be a feature, and maybe it's like game specific or publisher specific or whatever, but that would allow you to, instead of like right now, you can only play your games on one computer at a time. Like you can't be logged into your account at two different places playing the same game. It seems like maybe they would loosen the restrictions to your copy of the game can only be played, at one time. Like if you lended it to a friend, you can't play it at the same time as your friend can, but that there's a lot more fluidity in you being able to kind of lend out your game library to other people.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. I don't know that I don't yet understand what the business advantage would be of them doing that right now, but I think that idea will be really, really cool. And
Well, easy. Look at it. This shared game is currently unavailable. Please try again later or buy this game for your own library. So if I'm like, yo, dude, you got to try this game, Dust and Elysian Tales. I'm not gonna spend $15 on a game that I don't know anything about. You say it's cool, but we have different tastes in games. So I say, okay, well, here, try it right now. And they weren't necessarily gonna buy it anyway, but they sit there and play, and they're like, wow, this is really fun. And then they go in to play it the next day, share it off my library, but I'm playing it, and then they get this message. And then they're like, well, I want to play it, so okay, I'll buy it. That's
true.
just one scenario.
Yeah, no, that's
But
true. That's true. That kind of stuff, like you were talking about with the word of mouth and kind of having someone get a taste of something and then giving them the ability to say you liked it when you tried it. Here's the opportunity to buy it right now. Click the buy now button. It's all about giving someone the option to buy it right then. I think you're right. Like giving people a taste when their friend has it, but then they can't play it again or whatever. There's a strong impetus to buy it if you liked it. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see this as a real feature in Steam at some point, and I think that would be great.
yep.
Let's see. Next, we have some Watch Dogs multiplayer footage, which I watched this footage, and I don't even really. I guess it's dark. It's like Dark Souls. I haven't played Dark Souls multiplayer, but the video is like you have a guy who is trying to hack you, and you can look using the CCTV cameras and things to find out who the hacker is, and then you can like try to chase him down and kill him, or I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see how you're allowed to interact with people who invade your game. In Dark Souls, what it was you could turn it off. You had the option to turn it off, but if you played in typical mode, you would be in online mode where your console was online, even though you weren't playing online, and somebody could invade your game and try to kill you and make your game harder. And basically, you were encouraged to like grief other players and make their lives more difficult.
That's my kind of game.
And there were rewards to both successfully killing a player in their game and to repelling a character that was invading your game. But it was totally optional. You could switch it off whenever you wanted to, and it looks like they're doing the same thing with Watch Dogs, which is very cool. I just hope that, like Dark Souls, there is some sort of tangible benefit to keeping it on.
Yeah.
Some sort of in-game reward, like experience points, items, upgrade points, whatever.
Yeah, it does say that you
really
can switch the multiplayer off and that it's temporarily disabled during story missions. So that's a good thing. But I agree with you. I want to see what the benefit is to leaving this on when even if I want to play multiplayer, I don't know that I want to just have my game interrupted to play multiplayer. Like if I'm playing multiplayer, I intend to play multiplayer. If I'm playing single player, I'm playing single player, so melding the two, um,
It's not for everybody.
yeah, it's. I feel like you there's a right and wrong way to do it, and this could go either way for me right now.
I do hope that there is a more dedicated multiplayer mode where you can just join up with a friend and then, two-player co-op around and just goof off. Because like you said, when you want to play multiplayer, you want to play multiplayer. When you want to play single player, you want to play single player. And for some people can do this whole like if somebody wants to invade my game, then that's fine. This sort of multiplayer is more of a single player experience. It's a very single player like multiplayer experience. But for those who don't like that sort of weird hybrid of the two, like I said, you can just turn it off. But I'm hoping that there is also a multiplayer option for people who want to play multiplayer right now. Because if you're playing single player and you leave your game open and are waiting for somebody to join, it might never happen because it's
Yeah.
totally up to somebody joining that game or not. So I would hope that there is another multiplayer mode. I don't know if there's going to be. I'd be fine with this game if there wasn't, but it would be nice to see.
I mean, I almost feel like I would want to just turn multiplayer off by default, unless I knew there was some really good benefit to keeping it on, because like you said, if I'm playing for like 2 hours straight or something, and now I'm getting kind of engrossed in the story, or I'm just like I'm in the groove, and then all of a sudden it's like this guy's trying to hack you, you're gonna get killed or something. It's like completely breaking my immersion with the single player aspect of the game.
Exactly.
So unless it's something predictable where I don't know, the player base is large enough that you can expect that kind of thing to happen every 30 minutes or every hour or whatever it is. I don't know that I love the surprise aspect of it where maybe I'm playing for 4 hours single player and then some dude just comes into my game and I have to stop whatever I'm doing and focus on the multiplayer part. Maybe there are people that enjoy that, but I just
Right.
feel like that's not how I play multiplayer games.
If it's implemented well by Ubisoft, it could definitely be worthwhile. If players who invade are sort of written off as like agents still working for the agency you used to work for, who have been dispatched by them, it can still be pretty immersive, even though they're also being controlled by a player character. And it was sort of like that in Dark Souls 2, where the characters that invaded your world were represented as like malicious spirits. And it was still fairly immersive. But then again, there's always the opportunity. Like I saw some video, which was hilarious, by the way. But this would totally break my immersion if somebody did this to me, where a guy would invade games naked, and then just like troll them and do this weird like dance animation. I forget, it was some weird like if you alternated sprint and crouching, you did this weird like long-legged like dance kind of thing that just didn't work, and it was really funny to watch, but it would break my immersion if somebody did that to me. So
I mean,
it
like
totally
the fact
depends on
that
how the guy who invades your game plays it.
the part of the immersion, like I don't know, whenever I play single player games, I get tunnel vision, and it's just like keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward.
Right.
And if this were to happen to me and I were to have to run like because it's an open world game, it's a huge fucking world. If I were to have to run like for an hour and 45 minutes in a complete opposite direction from where I'm supposed to be going, I'm angry. Like you just wasted a shitload of my time, and that's the problem I see with it. Is it's going to have you sidetracked, going the complete wrong direction, and then you're going to get lost, or you're just going to have to walk forever to get back to your destination. That's just dumb. It's
Yeah.
just a
Right.
stupid fucking idea.
It could be really awesome. It could be really detrimental. It depends on how they execute it.
Yeah, someone in chat mentioned, and I agree with this based on what I've seen so far, is like Watch Dogs is either going to be amazing or it's going to be garbage. I don't feel like it's going to be in between. I feel like it's either that concept is going to work
Yep.
and they're going to execute really well, or it's just what the stuff in the trailers is going to be all there is. And it's like
Right.
every time your game is getting interrupted by some guy that's trying to hack you, and like there's no other aspect to it. It's just like, I'm going to turn this off because this is annoying and dumb.
I will wait to play that game because I do not judge any open world gameplay off of demos because that is all set up.
Yeah.
Very true.
You will never see the combination of cool events that you see in a demo for Watch Dogs in your game.
Well, but
just won't.
that's the thing
You
with
just
this
won't.
game with this gameplay demo. I didn't even get the sense that it was set up. It was just like it was kind of linear in terms of this guy's trying to hack you, and then it showed you trying to hack another guy. And it's like, okay, there has to be more to it than that. For me, this trailer was the opposite. I don't even know that this was a trailer. It was just, I guess, official footage, but it didn't really look that doctored. It was just like, here is how multiplayer kind of works in one scenario. And if there's not more than this, then I'm not that excited. for the multiplayer aspect of this game. But if this is just one combination of like a bunch of different scenarios that can happen that initiate multiplayer interaction, then it could be really cool.
Well, even if it is
Definitely.
executed extremely poorly, just turn it off.
True. True. It still feels like a single player game at its heart. So
Yeah.
next up we have some Titanfall news, which Titanfall is coming to PC, I think. Has that been officially announced, or are we just assuming?
Yes, it's coming to PC.
Yes,
yeah,
it has.
Yeah, so that
It
is
might
coming.
come to PS4, maybe.
Yeah, I know that
But
I
that's
think
still iffy.
right. I think it was called an Xbox exclusive, but then that was like also PC, and I'm sure we'll.
When they say exclusive, but what they meant by exclusive was it's a Microsoft console exclusive.
Right.
Because it's coming to Xbox One and Xbox 360.
Right. Okay. So exclusive means nothing anymore. It coming
means
to everything
like-
that's not PS4, but also maybe PS4 later.
Yeah.
So the Games Industry International had like a quick interview thing with Vince Zampella, who was talking about the fact that there won't be a single player campaign for Titanfall. At least that's what I get from this article. It sounds like it's it sounds scarily similar to Brink in terms of the single player is just multiplayer with bots, which is not in and of itself a bad thing, except that like clearly Brink is not something you want to be analogous to. They already
Don't do
have the
bots.
parkour. They already and they have the single player being multiplayer with bots.
Don't do bots. That's my tip. Don't do bots. Just make a multiplayer game.
Right. I think
just-
I think that's maybe the distinction. Like if you say there is no single player and there literally is no button that says single player, it's
Well, maybe
just like
have the option to do bots if you're in an offline mode or something, but don't put bots in the multiplayer. Just don't. Like if I'm online and I'm
Oh,
playing
yeah,
against other
definitely.
people, I don't want a mix of bots and real people. I want all real people against all real people.
Some servers have that enabled in TF2, and as people start to quit, they just like silently put bots in and replace them. It's
Yeah.
the worst thing ever. You catch on really quick. You're like, why is that medic so fucking terrible? Oh, it's a bot. I'm leaving.
yeah, actually
Like, it's so
CS:GO does the same thing with comp matchmatching. Like if someone leaves or if I don't know if they're
That I can kind of see because that
And your
like,
bot
it's 5v5.
carries the fucking bomb to the wrong point.
right.
Well, but
It's bad. Like
a player
basically
in Counter-Strike is a little more detrimental than in something. I don't know. I'm assuming Titanfall is going to be a little more fast-paced.
well, bots in anything really break the experience. If you're playing
Yeah,
multiplayer, you don't want bots. But I could see where bots can be useful if someone either is offline or if they're playing with a friend, and so it's
Yeah.
like it's not multiplayer, but it's like just you and your friend playing against each other or with each other or something. But the bottom line is that's still multiplayer. Like you're talking about, there's no story to it. There's that is multiplayer, just not with real people. You're just playing with AI. I don't really have a problem with that fundamentally. Like I think that if there isn't a story to a game, then and you just want to focus on the multiplayer, I'm completely for that. I'm just kind of surprised that they're not going for a single player because typically, these guys made Call of Duty, and they, as much as their single player stuff sometimes has been dumb, they still put a lot of effort into it. So I would hope that means the multiplayer for this game is going to be that much better if they aren't working on a single player portion. Like that gameplay better be super polished even in version 1.0.
it's okay. They don't have any pressure on their game whatsoever.
I'm good. I don't. Honestly, it seemed like a game world to me that would lend itself really well to single player because it has all this lore that they're pushing behind it. They have a really cool futuristic game setting. I thought it was going to have at least a single player campaign just because of it's cool mech shit.
If they want it to be like a franchise, they're gonna have to at some point.
Right.
Like they're gonna have to
Yeah.
create. You can't create lore to a world without a single player game. Like you just can't. Like Blacklight, I understand that they think the Blacklight has lore. I don't know. It doesn't because there's no single player campaign.
Team Fortress 2 actually, but that's Valve, and Valve does everything.
I think we've
perfectly.
talked about it before, but I want a Blacklight single player game. That would just be awesome
do
with
I.
all that customization. That'd be dope as
That
hell.
universe is just like I don't know. Visually, I could see some awesome shit coming out of that world.
I think
Yeah.
you could make a Blacklight single player game kind of like Deus Ex or something. Like You
Yeah,
got so much stuff.
but I also understand just the sheer resources it takes to put in stuff like that. There's so much work that goes into the
Yeah.
story-driven part of a game, that I'm like with a small team or a smaller budget, kind of like Zombie when they were making Blacklight. Like I'm glad for studios like that to focus solely on the multiplayer and make that a really good experience. And I think Blacklight's done a reasonably good job of that.
Thank
Um,
you.
but these Titanfall guys, like they also call themselves he calls himself a startup studio. That seems a little disingenuous. Like they have 60 developers, and they've been working at this for what, the past 3+ years. Um,
Yeah, calling it a small startup's a little.
I mean, it's just I think it seems like a long time to develop what at its core is just going to be another multiplayer shooter. It could be a really awesome multiplayer shooter, but at its core, that is what it is. It is not going to have a single player campaign. I haven't heard any like crazy groundbreaking MMO kind of stuff, so it's going to be a multiplayer shooter. And that's a long development time for, for a game that is not going to have a massive scale.
Definitely.
Better not suck. They say they don't want to be Call of Duty, but you have all sure. Don't worry.
And
Yeah, we're gonna give you some tips right now, Zampella. Don't fuck up.
Basically, yeah.
I think this puts even more pressure on the multiplayer. There's no single player for people to fall back to, so it's like I'm assuming this is going to be a $60 game. You're going to pay $60 for multiplayer, and if you don't like it, that's too bad.
What if it was like a $30 title? That would be fucking da bomb.
It would be, but I don't see that happening.
Budget
Yeah,
prices are such a like it's good and it can be bad. It's bad for your image because it's like, ooh, you're a budget title. You're not full price. You must suck for some reason.
Which is funny because that mentality does not exist on PC right now. It is so not true because there are so many quality indie
I
games.
don't know. I kind of well, I mean, not for indie games, but for
Maybe,
for,
yeah. Like yeah, large studio developed
indie
game.
games kind of like that come out as $40.
Huh.
Like there's one that's on Steam right now. I can't remember which one it was, but it was $40 at launch. And I was like,
I don't.
oh, it's Deadpool. Deadpool is $40 on Steam. I'm like,
Really?
you're gonna suck, I think.
I've actually heard pretty good things about people who have gotten their hands on early builds. They're saying the comedy is actually there, the gameplay is pretty solid.
I'm still skeptical.
I am too, but I am at least assuaged a little bit in that from people saying that that aren't tied to the game at all saying that it's actually pretty good.
So Titanfall won't be out until spring 2014, so I'm sure there will be more news about that. Hopefully some more gameplay. I'm interested to see what trickles out leading up to PAX Prime, where I assume they'll have a showing. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Next up, we have Hotline Miami 2. We have a gameplay video, and I watched this gameplay, and I don't really. It seems pretty similar to Hotline Miami 1. Like there's not really a ton, at least that popped out to me as being brand new or different. But that's not a bad thing because Hotline Miami is very cool and addictive in its own way. All they really need is a new soundtrack and a new story, and I'm gonna buy that game again.
It's all about the challenge. They just create new challenging puzzles like that. You don't need anything else for a game like that.
Yeah, I think just having a different story, kind of a different timeline, is enough to make it worthwhile. And really, the thing with that game is just the experience of listening to these crazy soundtracks and feeling like you're on acid. I mean, being able to recreate that in another game is still like the experience is still just as good. So,
Lucky Tord, I see what you did there. In chat, he got you good, you fucker.
I think the only big misstep here that has been pointed out by multiple people, and I think acknowledged by the devs themselves, is that it's called Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number. How they did not call it Hotline Miami 3 Wrong Number is a travesty.
That would have been. I see what you did there.
That would have been the icing on the cake.
That would have been
But
pretty solid, actually.
yeah, but there is gameplay out there. There's a PC Gamer article. We'll probably link it in the description. If you liked Hotline Miami 1, I see no reason you would not also like this game, and I'm sure it'll go on Steam sale at some point, and we'll all buy it anyway. Let's see, last piece of news here. Witcher 3, the DLC is going to be free for PC, so that's awesome news from CD Projekt Red, who just recently, I think Witcher 2 was on the good old game sale for like $6 or $7.
$4.99.
Was it
It was
$4.99?
$4.99.
I remember when I
annual.
bought Witcher 2 last Steam sale, and I didn't finish the tutorial.
CD Projekt Red has been very, very PC friendly as of late, and it's great to hear this so early. I mean, Witcher 3, I don't know when that's supposed to be out. Definitely not till 2014. I think like late 2014 at the earliest. I don't even know. But I know it's not going to be out for a while. But it's nice to see that they're already saying we'll get free DLC, and they're saying that for the consoles they would like to make DLC free
If they can.
but my guess is that they will not be able to do that. But that's the great thing about PC is that they can do that on
You
the
can do
PC.
whatever you want.
They can do whatever
CD
they want.
Projekt Red fucking loves its consumer base. They have nothing but love for everybody that buys any of their titles, and I love them for that. It's like opposite end of the spectrum, Microsoft and then CD Projekt Red. Microsoft like open disdain for their customers. CD Projekt Red wants to bed you. If you bought their game, they want to fuck you. I love it. Everything
Yeah.
I hear from this company, I love.
And I like they were talking to studio head Marcin Iwinski. I probably didn't say that right, but he quotes a lot of people on forums are saying like, no, but you guys are anti-DRM, and the rest of the quote doesn't matter. But he's saying a lot of people on forums are saying the fact that this guy is reading forums and is actually concerned about like the public perception of his company, of the games. I think that just that quote and the way it's worded is meaningful, because it's like
Yes.
we're actually reading that stuff, and whereas, like we were talking about earlier with Microsoft, I don't think Microsoft is actually like reading forums and reading Reddit, and I mean it's like the staggering sheer amount of coverage about their PR disaster made them have to pay attention. But like these Witcher guys, I mean they're out there reading probably NeoGAF and Reddit and the different places that people are talking about their games. And it's just awesome to see that like they could probably sell that Witcher 3 DLC for something, but they're going to give it away for free. I don't even know why they're doing it in this day and age, because that's such a rarity, but I think that's awesome. So
Definitely.
I
Good
remember
on
when
you.
everything, all DLC was free on PC. Call
I
of
remember
Duty
when it
4,
wasn't called DLC.
World at War. It
But
was a patch.
It was a patch.
It was patch 1.45. Enjoy your new content.
Yes. Yeah, DLC as a word was only made once it started costing money.
I cannot wait for people to start charging for bug fixes and balance patching. It'll happen.
I
Sure,
hope I
it
hope
probably
that
has already.
I hope that PC gaming keeps that away as a trend, because they could probably get away with that stuff on console. People would probably pay for that because they'll seemingly pay for anything. But I think us PC gamers demand a little higher standard, and luckily no one has had the audacity to try and pull that off. Anyway, that's wow, we're already pretty good on time. That's enough news. We have some new releases that Dan put in here.
Nobody cares about.
Yeah, there's not a ton releasing this week, but on Monday, Joe Danger and Joe Danger 2. I literally don't know what that is, because Dan,
I don't know what
Dan
that
put
is.
that in here. But that is
Are
a
we
thing.
Releasing the first
Trials?
and the second game, so
I think it was an Xbox exclusive.
There you
It's like sort of a comedy
Wow,
ass game,
dude!
and I
And
think
they
it's
think
similar
Call
to
of Duty is
Trials.
bad about coming out every year. They're dropping both 1 and 2 on the same day. How ridiculous! I'm gonna post on our gaming about this right now.
I'm sure someone in chat will call us out as like not as
Can't believe
having
they
no-
released a sequel so fast. Do they have no shame?
Tuesday we have releasing Deadpool, Ride to Hell Retribution, which I have also not heard of. But on Tuesday, Company Heroes 2 drops. So I played the beta of that a little bit. I didn't really think
What was your APM?
I not good. I was losing to the AI every time and did not win. I think like on
The
medium.
AI in the beta was fucking hard.
Yeah, it was not. It was
super.
It was
fucking
not
hard.
fun. It was so hard. So I hope that was either a bug that like picking easy or normal difficulty actually was the wrong difficulty or what. But I love Company Heroes 1. I didn't. What I saw Company Heroes 2, like I kind of chalked it up to just being a beta. I didn't really see enough of it or get far enough because I kept getting destroyed by the AI to really have a good feel about the game. But I'll probably wait on that until it goes on sale. That's the kind of game where I loved it partially because I paid almost nothing for it and I got so much out of it. But I think I would have a different set of expectations for that game at $60. So that's coming out if any of you guys are huge Company Heroes 2 fans. So we're going to take a quick 2-minute commercial break, and we will be back to finish off with the Twitter questions.
Hooray! I was kind of hoping, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of hoping there would be like
God,
some sort of,
fucking demanding, dog. Jesus.
I was kind of hoping there was going to be some sort of promo items for Deadpool in TF2. Would have been sweet.
God, you're such a loser.
It's definitely it's a good way to juice your sales. Get that TF2
really is.
integration.
I'm just kidding.
You just fucking model a gun for TF2 and get all the sales.
I'm gonna see all of my TF2 items right now. They're probably really sick.
Scooby saying in chat, it's actually that hard, and you just have to not be a casual. I played through all of Company Heroes and I never really had a ton of trouble with it. Some of the stuff was challenging, but not like the Company Heroes 2 beta. I put it on normal, and I was getting destroyed. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of just want to see more of this game. So I put it on easy, and I still got destroyed.
Nick,
So
do you want my sniper hat from Brink? Haha, JK, you can't have it.
It's a pretty nice hat, actually.
Yeah, it's level 10. I don't know what that means.
Oh,
Do
shit.
you want my vintage Scottish resistance?
No.
Okay. I don't know what's good. Is this good?
no, it's not good.
Is what good? What's its name?
Genuine Professor's Pineapple.
It's worth a little bit. I think it's worth like a key or two. It's
I
not bad.
forgot PAX Australia is pretty soon. I haven't really
Do you
heard a
want
whole
my
lot
genuine
about that.
Mask of the Shaman?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Actually,
You should look
Professor's
at-
Pineapple went down a lot.
Look at my backpack and tell me if anything's worth anything, so I can just craft them or whatever, like make them into things, so I can break them all in front of you.
You're gonna break your
Okay.
digital items in front of
Yeah.
him.
I'm gonna
No,
burn-
don't. No.
The Cow Mangler 5000. It's level 30. Does that mean it's important?
It's better than level 29.
What do the levels even mean? I don't get it.
It's just a random number. It doesn't mean anything, but certain collectors like level 100 items or like level
Oh,
42
I have
items.
2 Cow Manglers. Don't worry. I have the
Oh,
op.
sweet.
Is the op good? Is it,
Um,
can I?
I don't know
mouse
if it's
with it?
worth anything these days. I haven't looked at that price in a long time.
Alright, so we are back from commercial break as of like 30 seconds
I
ago.
have a Maniversary package.
We have your Twitter questions. First off, from mmarshall_9. He asks, I think he emailed this question in too, but he asked, how was your senior prom experience?
Didn't go. See ya.
I was gonna say, Nick is not old enough to have had his senior prom yet, but the rest of us can answer.
He's looking forward to it. Mine was okay. I guess it wasn't that memorable. I was dating a girl at the time. She looked super, super hot in her prom dress. But I wasn't allowed to feel her titties afterwards because she was tanning beforehand and accidentally sunburnt her titties.
I like
was very upset.
that's the reason that you weren't allowed to do anything.
Oh, like we were fucking. Like we had been dating for a few months at that point and whatnot, but
Did you enter her butt?
no.
Pussy.
Short answer,
Pussy.
no. But I wasn't allowed to feel the tits that day, and she was looking super hot, and it was super disappointing. And then we didn't like do anything memorable afterwards. I mean, a lot of people went down to the shore right after. We just all went over one of the girls' house and we all slept over like in a big pile on the floor. And oh, that was one
How
time.
did that work out? Was
Were
It
you
wasn't.
intoxicated?
It wasn't sexy. We weren't drunk. It wasn't that fun. It was really lame, actually. One thing I remember was this was a girl who I was super into, and she was not really into me as much as I was into her. And it was one of those like really depressing relationships where like one person was trying really hard and I wasn't, and she wasn't. So I was like I was sleeping the next morning. I was still asleep, and then all of a sudden like somebody comes down and lays down and like starts big spooning me, and I was like, oh my god, she's actually showing some affection. This is so awesome. And I turned around and it was my best friend Vin. I was like,
God.
and he was like, hey baby. I was like, god damn, because he's really skinny. He's built like a girl, so
that's the best ruse.
it was pretty funny actually. That was my main prom memory. It was like
Props
a
to
nice.
Vin.
We went to this one. I forget what it's called. It's a building in Philadelphia where they have like, a
Classic
bunch
Vin.
of classic Vin. They a lot of my subscribers know Vin. He's on my channel sometimes. But it's some building in Philly where there's a bunch of sculptures of the founding fathers, and they host events like that. It was pretty cool. We got a lot of pictures of us humping the founding fathers and them grabbing our balls and stuff. It wasn't that remarkable a night, to be honest.
Crazy kids. Yeah, mine. I mean, mine was good. My
You
girlfriend
went
at the
with
time.
Sunny, didn't you?
Yeah, my girlfriend at the time.
Girl was fucking smoking.
Yeah, she was very attractive. We went to different schools, so we kind of went to each other's proms, and they were both. It was both good. Like so we were going with a group, and my best friend's his girlfriend was like incredibly upset before the prom. I don't remember which one because I went to two, but she was so upset, and basically everyone else was just kind of like looking on and wondering when are we going to be able to leave? Like, is this girl ever going to stop crying? But so my time was okay. Other people maybe not so much. I felt bad for my best friend that he had to just kind of sit there and deal with it. But yeah, it was a good time.
I got really, really drunk and threw up in the bathroom at prom and then went home.
Good
I
story.
drank Ice 101. I drank Ice 101 before prom because it makes it smell like you have really fresh breath and not like you're intoxicated. But man, vomiting that stuff up is just whoosh. It burns, man. It's like vomiting up Listerine.
That's
Yeah,
horrible.
it's
It's good.
Yeah, that doesn't.
The girl
sound...
I went with had huge Jehoogans though.
Jehoogans.
Like those fucking
like that.
gazongas were just, oof, good lord, man.
Sounds
I used to
like a good time.
I used to like blondes with huge boobs, and I like brunettes, and I don't enjoy boobs at all. I like bums.
Butts
Okay.
greater
Weird.
than. Butts greater than.
Bum-
Definitely.
Bums are more important than boobs. They are.
I'm not discrediting large breasts. I actually quite enjoy them, but butts are greater.
I like butts and supple tenders.
Supple tenders indeed.
Well, it needs to be supple regardless. Size is not as important. Suppleness. is important.
Gazongas, Jehoogans, sweater meat, whatever you want to call them. Overrated.
So next up, we got two questions that are kind of along the same vein. So I'm only going to ask one of them. Heracross asks if you could go back and advise a game dev for any title in making their game, which game would you help / destroy and why? So you can either go back and advise them and help them make the game better, or you can like sabotage their game by giving them poor information.
Brink.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would like to destroy Brink, and I would have liked to help them make Brink not bad. Because splash damage lost every bit of love I've ever had for them.
So you're saying you would just advise them to not make maps that are one choke point?
Fests. Yes.
And
And
not
I
to
would
mention-
advise them to turn Brink into Wolfenstein Enemy Territory HD.
Yes. That's
The whole-
Remove the elevators from Mirror's Edge. That's mine.
so
the-
specific.
the whole way that multiplayer worked in Brink needed to just not be a thing. It needed It was just so fucking
Are you
dumb.
saying you would advise them to not have a single player that was just multiplayer with bots?
Sort of. It wasn't even the fact that it was multiplayer. It was just the way that that multiplayer was formatted. Multiplayer wasn't even a series of maps, different maps with different game types. It was 14 campaign missions that each had a story and a cutscene at the beginning and end, but played multiplayer.
Yeah.
That's how multiplayer worked in that game, and it didn't make any fucking sense, and it wasn't enjoyable in the least.
Yeah, I feel like that was a huge risk that just, I mean, was clearly
Who
did
thought
not
that was
pay
a good
off.
idea? Who
I don't
like who
know.
who in development was like, "Yeah, this would be fun." No,
I
are
feel
you?
like someone thought that was innovative, and then like hopefully that guy got fired.
It is innovative. It's just not good.
Yeah.
There's those aren't mutually tied together. If you're innovative, doesn't mean you're good.
Yeah, true.
You know, you
That's a
need
good point.
innovation, and it needs to be fun.
Someone says remove Catwoman from Arkham City. That is a bad choice because that leather tight Catwoman is fantastic. So
You like her supple tenders?
I enjoy her supple cat tenders. That sounds so awful. Yep.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I mean Brink is a good choice. I feel like I would probably go back and I feel like there are games that I feel strongly about in terms of the way that they panned out. Like Doom 3, I would tell them to not have it be, completely dark where no one can see anything. Like I feel
Quake
like Doom,
Wars.
yeah, I mean Quake Wars, it's like it's for me it's a lot of the titles that I really wanted them to be something they didn't end up being. And so like Doom 3, Brink, Quake Wars,
Duke
um,
Nukem.
actually, I'll give you, yeah, Duke Nukem is a good one. I'll give you probably my most recent and best example would be if I could go back in time and have Tribes Ascend not be free to play, that would probably be my choice. I would have Tribes Ascend be like a $30 or $40 game, one-time purchase, and put a lot of effort into like the community tools, like mod tools,
Mod
map
tools
making,
stuff.
stuff like that. That is my true and honest answer. That like I would in an alternate universe, I would love to see how not making Tribes free to play would have turned out. And I don't know if that would have helped or destroyed them, because from what I understand, Tribes was a financial success, at least on some level. But I've given their current player base, it's hard to call it a success today as we stand. So
I was going to say Call of Duty. I would just destroy Call of Duty just to see what life would be like if Call of Duty was never a thing. To see if like YouTube even became an object, a part of the community. I don't know, but now after John said Brink, my actual answer is now Brink. That is a much better answer.
I feel like there are a lot of interesting experimentation kind of things, or I would love to just see
Right.
if I had
Let's just
advised
see
them
how
to make
how
it
it goes.
slightly differently or to just not make it or whatever, like how would gaming as a whole be affected? Because I feel like Call of Duty is a good example with YouTube. I think Tribes Ascend is a good example with free to play. Like Tribes was kind of blazing a free to play path for Western games at the time they were doing it, and now you see a lot of free to play games. So I'm curious, how would those situations have turned out if they had made different decisions? Next up, we have a question from Hank Hiltonton. What will it take to revitalize competitive FPS on PC? And I'm actually,
A
I mean,
free.
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say a free to play, competitively designed, like from the ground up. That is what they're building it for. Free to play, new IP, something that's not shit, similar to Quake, but guns have recoil. Just fucking released to the masses. It has to be built from the ground up as a free to play title for competitive FPS for PC. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. Warsaw
Uh,
is a prime example of something that they released poorly. If they would have marketed it better, could have worked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that competitive FPS on PC is already thriving and wonderful thanks to Shoot Mania Storm.
I was wondering how
So
long it would
that's
take us, how long it would
that's
take to reference Shoot Mania. But I think something like Shoot Mania is a good example where if it was free to play, they could potentially like if you put marketing behind it and like you have it at events and you're shoutcasting promotional tournaments and stuff, that could help revitalize competitive FPS. But it's not free to play, and I think it's hard to get people excited um, about something that they don't necessarily know if it's good or not, and they have to drop like what $20+ for it.
Nexius would have been a perfect game for that.
Yeah, I feel like there's some good examples of games that could have made it and just didn't. But I think like we were talking about earlier, I think something that could really help is making like making competitive just more accessible, because you don't have people idling IRC, and you don't have pug channels with thousands of people in them like you used to. So I think the way to revitalize competitive FPS is to build it into the system that's running your game. And CS:GO is a good example. Like I'm not as interested in a game that doesn't have it if I'm interested in being kind of semi-competitive. And you look at games like League of Legends has that. Like there are different rankings. You're playing the game, and if you decide you want to be competitive, you can be competitive because there's a system for that in place. And I think you don't see that in many FPS games.
I think the game like things like League of Legends and StarCraft and stuff like that. The game that everybody is playing has to be the same as what the people that are competitive are playing.
Yeah.
Like it just has to be. Like the game, like when I go play StarCraft, I'm playing the same game that the pros are playing. I'm not good, but it's the same game. So it's
Yeah,
like
and that's
when you watch competitive Call of Duty, those settings are tweaked and just like not what you're gonna get in a regular multiplayer experience. So
There's an interesting thought though, like how important, like what do you think people actually want out of a competitive FPS though? Do they want DM Quake style or do they want
I
objective
think it
based?
depends. It just depends on what that person's
Because
looking for.
I enjoy the
There's no
teamwork aspect
one
of games.
FPS that's everyone's gonna like the most.
Yeah. Like I like games where there's an objective. Like even one as simple as Counter-Strike, that's fine, but like Enemy Territory had just like different objectives for every map and they were all really unique. Like I something like that would be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that your point is a good one, Nick, about how it has to be the same game that people are already kind of playing, because games like that's why CS:GO I think is like the comp matchmaking is really at its core just CS:GO. It's just
Yeah.
5v5, but there's nothing that would be foreign to someone who had just played in pubs.
And
Wh-
I think it works well as an esports thing too, like a spectator thing, because someone that has played X game that is going to know what's happening when they're watching it. They don't have to know what the rule changes are and those kinds of things.
That's the
One of
other
the
piece of
reasons
it.
Quake still does well on viewership is because you even if you've never played Quake, like you know what's going on. It's right. It's just that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the other piece of it too, is that there's got to be an increased effort around like a spectator experience for
Yeah,
FPSs,
definitely.
and again, CS:GO is a good example of this in that you have to have an overlay, you have to be showing some data about players' health and just other things that people find interesting as a spectator, and making a spectator experience good, because I think that's how the game grows from the competitive side. Is you want people streaming your game, you want people making videos for your game, and you want it to be something that you can stream and shoutcast and generate interest around. And that's the only way that a competitive FPS is going to actually succeed, is if you have like tournaments and people interested in having competitive play, at like for money, eventually. So next we have a question from Patrick Gerzak. At Patrick Gerzak asks, "Do all games have to have a deep, interesting story to be considered amazing?"
No.
Single player games,
Well, he doesn't specify.
kind of.
He doesn't
No, but
specify.
yeah, absolutely not. Then there's
Yeah.
there's no story in Counter Strike
Yeah,
or
why-
Enemy
why would
Territory.
there-
It needs to be more this question needs to be more specific. If it's
Yeah.
a single player only game, yes, obviously.
I think he
if it's
may-
a single player game with a multiplayer and the multiplayer is good, not
I
necessarily.
think let's take this question as if he meant single player, because I think clearly all of us would say that a game does not have to have a deep, interesting
Yeah.
story to be considered amazing, like from a multiplayer perspective.
Even then, I don't think so. They're like,
Right.
well, the deep and interesting part. I mean, it depends on what the game is. Like, I'm not going to go play single player Tetris and look for a deep,
That's a good point.
emotional experience. I'm
That's a good
just
point.
playing Tetris.
A lot of people would consider
Personally,
Tetris an amazing game.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it
absolutely.
depends on the type of game. It's like there are games that benefit to having a good storyline and that kind of stuff, but like there are games that are arcadey or they're more
You
focused on mechanics,
you can
stuff like that.
play Dark Souls. Dark Souls has
Yeah.
backstory, but it doesn't have much of a story. It's all about the challenge and the atmosphere. You
Yep.
can go and play. I personally think the first Devil May Cry game is amazing. That story is fucking retarded. It's still a great game. It absolutely not. It doesn't have to have a deep, interesting story. No, it's not a limitation. It's a huge plus. It's not a necessity.
Yeah.
There's two different kinds of games. There's multiplayer games that can be great. There's no story there. There's four different kinds actually. There's single player games like a Tetris that's great just because it's a great game. And then there's games like Devil May Cry, like you said, and then there's games that play like movies,
Yeah.
and those have to have the story.
If The Last of
Like,
Us
right.
did not have interesting characters and
Definitely.
like environments and things like that, then it would not be The Last of Us. It would
Yeah.
just be
It would be
bland
garbage.
Well, I mean,
zombie-ish game.
I mean, like look at Walking Dead. That's kind of that's a point and click adventure game. Without a story, that game would be garbage because that's
Yep.
like that's the point of the game. So yeah, I agree. It depends on the game and what that development team is going for. And like Tetris, I wasn't even thinking about games like Tetris, like
Yeah.
older games.
Real
But you're
simple
right.
things.
You're right. Like simple games that just have an extremely addictive gameplay.
I think basically in short, the answer is it's either like
no.
the story or it's a mechanics type of game. If
Yeah.
it's a story game, yes. If it's a mechanics game, no.
That's true. Next up, this question, I added it because I thought it was funny when I read it, and I don't really know what it means. At X Ghost Taco asks, mechanical keyboards and which key is good for everything?
I think
There's a
I'm-
question mark at the end
I
of
know,
that.
I know what you're trying to ask, so I'm just gonna speak for myself and Brandon and say blues.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is like which cherry keys or which type of mechanical keyboard. But I just thought it was funny because I read it and then I saw a question mark at the end, and that
I'm a
it
I'm
threw
a
me
big
off.
I'm a big fan of the shift key. I think it's
I
very
think
versatile and underrated.
space is a really solid key.
Space is the workhorse key. Space bar is absolutely a necessary key to have. Um, but I think shift is a little underrated. I think space bar is a little too mainstream. As for mechanical, the first part of the question, which is mechanical keyboards, sure, why not?
Yeah,
I still
I think
have yet to buy one for myself. I feel like
Yeah,
I'm
same.
I
depriving
think
myself of a
mechanical
bit of keyboard
keyboards.
experience.
We've covered this before, but I prefer blue key switches, which are the clicky kind that will annoy people around you, but they're great for typing. Yeah, the ones that
That's blue.
I always have to tell people not to type while they're on the podcast. But there are other cherry switches that, like, honestly, if you can try out keyboards before you buy them, it'll probably come down all to personal preference. Some are softer, some
It-
people like that. I don't like a mushy key. I really, that's why mechanical keyboards, like, I won't go back because I type so much that the click makes it way better for me. But other people, your taste may vary.
I do think that if you don't use a mechanical keyboard and you do use one, you'll switch. I mean, if you haven't tried a mechanical keyboard, that's fine. You don't really need to. It's one of those things if you don't know until you try it, so you can get away with it.
Yeah, it's a
But
nice
once
to
you
have.
try it, once you try a good mechanical keyboard, you'll make the
Oh
switch.
yeah, I've
One-
I've used good mechanical keyboards, and it's just something I need to get around to buying. But
And the
One
thing
of y'all
too
needs to
is,
let me try it at next LAN.
yeah, you can like at least with my keyboard, I have a DOS, and for me, it's all about the build quality. Like I think just the build quality of mechanical keyboards, the DOS is kind of on the higher end of that, but I think in general, the build quality for mechanical keyboards seems to be better than your
I
average.
go 10 keyless as well.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of experience gaming on them. But like I've typed on some really good keyboards, and they just like you said, they just feel good typing.
Yeah.
It's just a much better experience. It's
Yeah.
clicky. I think the click sound adds so much for some stupid reason.
Yeah, if you have money to spend, go to your local shop and try some mechanical keyboards out. It's not
It
something you
helps with
need.
bunny hopping in Counter-Strike, by the way. Once you get the rhythm and you get your bunny hop started, you get the click in your head for like
Oh yeah.
when things are supposed to happen, and it just allows you to keep going much easier. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, and which one do
There's
you,
bunny
you
hopping in
have?
TF2 as well.
I have someone in chat's asking what are some good ones. I have a DOS keyboard professional. John has yours Cooler Master, right?
Yeah, I have a Cooler Master CM Storm, 10
Yeah, his
keyless.
10 keyless. There are some other good ones. Read reviews on that stuff.
Ducky. Ducky's really good.
Ducky, Philco. I think Sean has one of the old school IBM ones.
Yeah, he
Um,
has the Model M or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah.
I really liked my SteelSeries 6GV2 and my 7G,
And
but
I've
I
heard good
decided
things
I
about the
wanted to go 10
Corsair one
keyless.
too. One of the new
Yeah.
Corsair mechanical. So
WASD keyboards are actually really good, by the way. A lot of people don't go with them because they're kind of a smaller brand right now, but they're fucking phenomenal. Their build quality is very similar to DOS. Like this,
Actually.
my Cooler Master, it's fine. Like the build quality's fine, but it's not nearly as solid as a DOS.
yeah,
The best part about Sean's Model M was during Extra Life because he was right by where the camera is. Like, so everyone watching the stream could see his keyboard, and like every once in a while there'd be like comments in the chat, and they'd be like, "Oh, that guy has such a shitty keyboard. It's from like 1995." And then somebody would be like, "Do you even know what that is, man? It's a Model M, you idiot."
yeah.
So good.
Those go on eBay. Good quality ones go on eBay for quite a bit. So our last question here, because I think these are coming up soon. At Canada Aviator asks, what are you looking forward to going on sale during the Steam Summer Sale?
Everything that's under $10 because I will buy every one of the games
Yeah, I was
that I don't
actually
own already.
on the good old game sale recently. I actually held off buying a few things because I was like, I know I'm not going to play this for a while, and I really want it on Steam. So Steam has won me over for some of that stuff, like stuff that I know I'm not going to play for a while. But some things, I got some ideas of games that I would like to see go on sale. Not necessarily for me, but for other people. Games like FTL and Hotline Miami, like
Definitely.
under $5. Those games are so good. Like FTL I can run on my Ultrabook, and like that's my go-to game if I'm at a hotel or something and I just kind of want to hang out and chill. I boot up FTL and I
It's
play that
great.
single player for a bit. Like it's such a relaxing game. So stuff like that, I'm
Yep.
with John. Pretty much anything $10 or under, and like $5 or under is instant purchase. Um,
Yeah. Doesn't
My
matter how
answer is
shitty
basically
it is.
anything I don't own already.
Yeah, I
Which is
Mecha
gonna be
budget
Last,
difficult.
like every year. Every year I budget a couple $100s for Steam sales. I'm ready to spend a couple $100s, and I always end up spending like 50 because every game's like $2.
Yeah,
Everything I
it's
buy is $2.
so
The amount,
ridiculously
the
cheap.
amount of content that you can get for like let's say $50 is absolutely ridiculous. Like
You could get a
Arkham
year's worth of
City was
games
going
for
on sale
$50.
for like $10 last year. That was like a year ago. You could get Arkham City for like $10.
yeah,
That's
Yes.
insane.
it's a
Fucking
guessing
insane.
game. It's a guessing game about if the game that you see on sale today for like 25% off is going to be 75% off tomorrow. You have
Well, and a
to
lot of times Steam will honor that. If you buy something for 25 and it goes even further down, you can actually message Steam support and they will grant you that money back.
do they? I've wondered about that because that's happened for the past several Steam sales where at this point I tell people wait to buy stuff that's like 25 or 30% off because you never know if that stuff is going to go on a daily deal for 75%.
Yeah.
Well, if,
And
if it's like one of the daily deals, there's usually like, hey, this is the big sale. Here are some of the smaller sales. If it's on the big sale, you should like buy it right then. But also, if it goes, I don't think that stuff is planned by Steam. I don't think they're like, okay, we're gonna sell this for 25 the first day, then 50 the second day, and people are just gonna have to guess. I think that it just kind of happens from the developers as that sale goes
No, yeah.
along.
Well, and now
So
they do the deals that you vote on. So, it
exactly.
depends on what gets voted in if
Right.
sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, I don't
So
think
I
there's
think they honor that. If you want to get that further discount, you can. So if you see something
And
that
if
you can afford,
Another
that you
another
want,
thing I
get it.
always tell people to do is like if you can wait for a game and you see it go on sale for 33% off or whatever, like in say March, that's going to be a 50% plus off game during the summer sale.
Yeah.
It's going
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, that's you
So
have to
like
Another-
if there's something you can hold off on, hold off until the
Another
summer
pro
sales, because that's
tip,
when you're going to get the lowest price.
if you see something on sale, like on the front page, like the first day, and then you miss it or something, just wait until the last day. It's gonna be there.
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll
Last
always
day
be
is
there
the
last day.
smorgasbord of sales.
The sales
Everything
just
will be
keep
there.
getting longer and longer.
At least
so
all the big ones. You're gonna see BioShock on sale this summer
Yeah.
sale.
You're good. I'm waiting. The only big one is like Last Light for me. That's the only one I'm really anticipating. But like when it comes to Steam sales,
that's gonna be there.
I think it's
I
gonna be
got
there.
mine for free with my
Probably
video
not
card.
by that much less. Maybe like a 30%, 40%.
might be 25 or
That's
30.
still
It'll
pretty
be
good.
it'll
That's
be
still pretty good.
33 probably.
Yeah, I
Because it's a smaller indie studio. They always, I mean,
Yeah.
even if the game's pretty new, they'll still have a pretty hefty sale. They won't be like 50 to 75.
I tell
or
you what
anything.
I'm
With Steam sales, I just browse. It's such a good time to just browse and be like, oh, I heard about that. I never got around to it. I don't anticipate things ahead of time. I don't plan for games.
Yeah, I tell you what I know is going to go on sale and I'm going to regret having bought it earlier is Sleeping Dogs. Even though I got it at $15, I know it's going to be like $10 or $5. And I have not installed it. I'm looking at it right now. I've never played it. I've never installed it. And like Borderlands 2, I got that at $30 and I played like 30 minutes of it so far. And I know that's going to be on sale for like $15. Dishonored probably $15. So that kind of stuff, I'm looking forward to that because there's some really good games out there that I haven't played yet that I'm just like John said, I can wait on those games, and so I'm just waiting until they hit that $10 and below mark, and then I go in and cash in.
Yep.
So anyway, guys, that's it for the cast. A little bit longer this week, which hopefully you don't mind. As always, you can check us out on the Twitters at KBMOD Gaming, Facebook if that's your thing, facebook.com/KBMOD, Twitch streams, twitch.tv/KBMOD. We have streams almost every night, maybe not this week, with Dan being what he is. We also have YouTube, which we upload highlights to and such, youtube.com/KBMOD Gaming, I think. And you can check us out always at kbmod.com. And forums, kbmod.com/forums. And lastly, if you listen to this on iTunes, give us a rating.
Rate it.
We do like that stuff. We read those reviews and we feel good when we get that feedback. So we will be back next week with episode 99 and the week after with the anticipated episode 100. So we will see you then, and have a good night.